Hey everybody, hopefully I'll be loud enough for you. I thought you might enjoy just watching, seeing how the brushing happens. And that, and I wanted to introduce our next video, which is the one that's going to be out on this Mayday Monday. Welcome to Mayday Monday number 2. Hope you're having a great day. And if you're not, make a choice to enjoy a little while of it anyway. And so you will see in a minute what it is to be brushing a good horsey girl in the springtime when your winter coat is coming off. And as you can see, here is my little brush, and that is about 5 little brushes. And this whole thing comes off in a big sheet, and I have got a gallon-sized Ziploc baggie that is stuffed to overflowing with the hair we have collected so far this year. And it will be continuing until it's all done. Anyway, I wanted to share good morning to your happy May Day. Hope you're having a good day. And just tell you a little bit about, I started making a video for crafting the thing that I was building, you know, that I showed you last week, the medication information. And my daughter's texting me, that's fine. But I was building the, doing it. And one of the things that happened while I was making this video was I gave a really good demonstration of one of my chronic issues. I am a full disability from long COVID patient. I have double-digit list of, what do they call them? There's another of them. I've got a double-digit list of complications from COVID. It tried to kill me in 2020. It managed not to, courtesy of, they finally got the brain swelling down. I was unconscious for 9 days, related to severe brain swelling and fever that would not break, and a host of other things: kidney failure, cardiac failure, respiratory failure, just a whole slew of stuff. And many of my long-term things are related to probable damage from the extended brain swelling. And one of them is both occasional brain fog and occasional cognitive glitches. And since I was a registered nurse and people's lives were in my hands, obviously those two conditions alone would make it impossible for me to return to nursing. So my career ended with COVID. And anyway, in the video, I realized as I was recording, when I went back and looked at it, I was like, yeah, there was a total perfect example of a cognitive glitch in that video. So it'll look weird, but I'm leaving it in there so I can be real with you guys. I want to be the first to share something that's real in my chronic condition issues. I think that is an appropriate way to start the world with you guys, and to let you know that this journey is real for me, and that hi Crockett, that's such a good boy. Oh, you want out? Okay, hang on. To let you know, there you go. He is very talkative, and he has no issues telling me exactly what he wants. But anyway, I wanted to just give you an opportunity to see one of my many chronic issues at work. And so anyhow, I really do hope you have a wonderful day. And I know this is kind of a long video because it takes time to make what we're making. It doesn't happen instantly, but I want you to see the various steps so that you'll understand what we're doing, and that way you can do it for yourself and not be going, how in the world did she do this? There's several steps that need unpacking, and for you to be shown how to do them if you're facing those things with your supplies that you have. So I want to make sure that I do those. in a way that will make it clear what you're needing to do to be able to effectively utilize the supplies that you have. So forgive me if it's a little bit long this week, but I do want our first crafting together to be able to be successful and to be a lot of fun. So thank you very much for your time. I'm so grateful that you've come to share this journey, and I look forward to talking to you later. Have a great day. Come join the Facebook group. I want to do something with that so that we can all visit and enjoy time together. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hi, everybody. I apologize. I'm bringing you in the beginnings of this, but I thought I started preparing, and I mean the creative thoughts just started flowing, so I figured I'm just going to bring you in with this in the beginning. I'll show you where I've gotten to so far and exactly what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. What I did was I got 4 envelopes here. Somewhere around here's the 4th one. I'm sorry, I'm having fun. I've got stuff going everywhere. Where is that 4th envelope? It's around here somewhere. I'll find it in a minute. But I have 4 envelopes, and what I've ended up deciding to do for this one, I've got another set of ones that I was going to make and show you later, but for the making part, I wanted to just go on and do this. So I've got 4 envelopes. I've only got 3 in my hand. The 4th one's laying around here on the desk somewhere. Actually, I happen to have an envelope right here that goes with a piece of mail. I'll just pull it. I now know where 3 out of 4 of these came from my electric bill. So here's 4 envelopes. And what I'm going to do is, I am making it smaller, obviously, because the other one was absolutely massive. And there's just no point in doing something that ginormous. Hang on, I'm wanting to make sure I've got you guys in frame. Okay, cool. Anyway, so what I did was I picked up 4 envelopes. The way these envelopes go together is, this one's stuck a little bit. Hang on, let me unstick it. Well, if I can unstick it, if not, I'll have to find my other envelope. Let me just find my, it's laying in here in the desk somewhere. But I've got 4 envelopes, and basically what I'm looking at right now is you put these envelopes together, and the way that they go together is you have the back flap of each one fits on the front of the next one, and you glue them together like so, and then you take the back flap and you glue it down to the front of the next one like so. Same thing, back flap down to the front of the next one, glue it down. You end up with 4 envelopes sitting right here like so. And when you're done with these 4 envelopes, you take the last flap that hasn't had anything done with it, and you take it and you fold it backwards and over top of the other 3 envelopes. And this is what makes your actual book. So it sits like this. And this flap is going to be glued down here. This is going to be covered with paper, so it's not going to show. And then you'll have this flap right here showing with whatever design or whatever's on top of this. So I was going through and I was looking at some papers and things, and it just hit me what I wanted to do with this, because I didn't have a design settled on. And so I started cutting out some paper that could be, you know, my backdrop for whatever I was going to do design-wise. Because one of the things I learned on the first one was when you go to do this side of the paper, you need a firmer texture here. And you can do this one of 2 ways. You can do it the way I did on the first one, which was I just added a second piece of paper up under here. I glued it in and used that to make it twice as thick. So what I figured I would do this time is when I put the paper in here, I am using, this is craft paper and it's quite heavy. It's like a cardstock. It's sturdy paper. So when I glue this down, it's going to come all the way up here to where it goes and covers the back of this, and I can clip my little hole in it, but it'll be firm and strong enough that you can lift it, put things in it repeatedly, and it can handle the wear and tear of doing that. So that was my thought as to why I chose this craft paper to use for my fronts and my backs. Now, just an FYI, these envelopes, when you look at putting paper on the back, you don't want to come all the way up to this edge, right there at that edge, because otherwise it's hard to get your hand in there to open it up like a pocket. So what I'm doing is I'm going to come up to a little bit down from that, just a little bit, but a little bit down from that. Hang on, I'll show you. See, it's going to be just a little bit down from that, and then I cut the thumb hole, is what we call that. We'll cut the thumb hole here before I glue it on, so it'll give me even a better thing to pull in and pull back with, and that creates your pocket nice and strong. So that's one of the reasons I'm doing this. Now this particular thing, what I am going to do is I'll take all 4 of these pieces that, you know, of this smaller piece that's going to go on each of the envelopes. I'll take all 4 of those, and I will clip that thumb hole at one time through all 4 of those, because that way they will all be in the exact same place. So I'll do that in a little bit. But right now, what I was doing was kind of doing the design thought. This is how I design things. I'm playing it out in my head. What I want, the front cover, because it's going to be how the very last envelope goes back this way. Hang on a minute. Let me get this right, so I'm showing it to you correctly. One second here. Let's do this. Now this flap would be being glued down to the front of this envelope. Flip it over. This flap is glued to the front of the next envelope, right there. Fold that over. This flap is glued to the front of this envelope, which leaves us with this flap, which comes around and makes it a whole booklet, okay? Loosely laid in place. So that means that on this last page here, or if you want to flip it upside down, you could make that the first page as well. So the first page could have a pocket, or the last page could have a pocket. You choose, whichever is your preference. I was choosing that the front page would be this side that would not have the pocket in it. This would be, because this is going to get glued down flat. What I was choosing for the front page is to take and put, because your 2 pieces of this craft paper are going to be slightly different in size. The inside pieces are a little bit shorter, like I showed you, because you're allowing some length, a little bit of space in here for that pocket. So it's only like 1/8 of an inch. It's all the difference is. But still, this piece, though, we want it to be pretty much the exact size of the whole front of the envelope. So when you've got the whole front of the envelope, you're going to have on the first page, if you remember the other one, and I don't have the other one in my hand right now. I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm in the throes of doing stuff, and I got stuff flying everywhere. This is the creative process. It just is fun. And I apologize that it doesn't look that organized, but hey, I'm sorry. I'm having a great time, and I welcome you to come along with me to our Mayday Monday and get some fun in our Mayday Monday. This piece is going to be glued down right here. It'll look like this. This will be the front of this page. It's going to have a square, and this square is, for my purposes, is like 3 inches, but it depends on what size your envelope is as to how it's going to look, and I'll show you about that in a minute. But I'm just clipping this on here so I don't misplace where it is, okay? So this is the front cover. What I decided to do that I thought would be really fun is to use coloring book pages and make my design thing, instead of like I did with the fishing one where there was fishing papers and stuff, instead to put in coloring book pages to play around with. Because what is there any more fun to do at the doctor's office than to have a pack of colored pencils or markers in your bag and sit out and do some coloring? Ladies, you may enjoy it. Gentlemen, you may enjoy it too, because there are some amazing grown-up coloring books with all different kinds of designs. Now, what I'm going to do is I want to cut this down, and I'm going to make this little focal point right here. I'm going to use that as my design in this side. And then when you flip over to the inside of this front page, if you remember the other one, God, I got to figure out where I put the other one. Hang on a second. Let me go find that dang thing. One moment. Okay, I found it. I set it up in one of my little cubbies. I've got like a company mailbox like thing that has all the little cubbies, and all the books that are either work in progress or finished are all filed up there, so it keeps them nice and clean. Okay, if you look at the way I did this one, you need a spot up here at the top to write down whatever you want to title it, and that's what this is for. So this is going to have that on it, and it'll be whatever title. You'll want to use a marker to write that down, and then we'll have part of the coloring book thing here. When you flip it over to the next page, there will be a smaller size. No boots, please stay down. will have, this is the smaller size. It's only smaller by about 1/8 of an inch. So it's not a lot smaller. But in the inside, okay, on the inside of this one, I had it where it just has this nice big piece of paper. Well, these envelopes are narrower, so I didn't know if there would be enough room. This one has plenty of space for you to write your name and your phone number, emergency contact, and anything that's life and death important. Hello, Boots. Are you going to help me? How badly are you blocking my camera? Not bad. All right, boy, if you want to stay, that's cool. Okay, so here for the inside cover, where you were going to write all of that odds and ends, including maybe emergency allergies, that kind of thing. What I thought about doing, instead of putting one piece down, in order to allow us to have space to still have some coloring page here, I thought about doing a drop down. So I'm going to glue this part down, and then we'll have, I was going to put a small tag right here to pull down, some kind of a small pull down, to make it where it's easy to know that it's, notice that it's, and you'll train the paper, it'll get where it stays closed. So that's, you know, that'll stay that way. But anyway, this is part of the inside portion of this first page. And then I was going to take this piece right here, and I will cut out sections from each of these and make kind of a mirror image of something on this, like that, on this one, and then where this will pull down over top of it, but it's not going to always, it stays up top. And then the other one will be the same way, only with a little bit larger piece underneath it. So anyway, this is going to be the top and the bottom, and I was just figuring that and getting it aside. And then the next one, the rest of these are all going to be full sheets, and they will have, oh, I'm sorry, goodness gracious, I bumped my mouse, pissed it off. Anyway, the rest of them are going to be, the inside pages will use the smaller pieces, and the outside pages will use the larger pieces, and then I will supplement in, I've got several pieces of coloring book page here, to work with, to choose, you know, layout designs on. So I've got those out here pulled out. And, so anyway, that's where I was going to start from. Now, instead of doing, this one had all just images. The other one that this one is that we're about to do is going to have the coloring book pages. So I don't want to put the pockets in it because of the coloring book page taking up the whole page on both of these. It'll still have the cutout like this pocket. It'll have the cutout like that, but it'll be in the brown paper, and it'll have that as a, it'll be further up this way. It'll be a wider panel, and then it'll have the cutout out of that part, so it can bite into it, but it'll all be one piece. So anyway, that's going to be the difference as far as this goes, and you won't have like the tucks. You'll only have the pockets to use, but in each one you will have the coloring book pages instead of all the artwork, which is fine if you, and you can decorate either direction. This is what I was wanting to show, is some versatility. Kitten cat and mama's got to put you down. That a good boy. So I wanted to show some versatility in this, because this one is going to be one that is not so much interactive, unless you want to slide interactive things in your pockets to go for, you know, if you've got things you want to play with. Some people, if you like Sudoku or you like crossword puzzles or whatever, it would be great to have and slide those kind of things in, like in one of these tucks at least, so that you've got, once again, something to do during those long periods of waiting in waiting rooms, which is a great way to spend your time. Now, other thing on the cover of this, one thing that there is to remember too is I'll have to pick out, because I have not picked out a fabric yet. I actually have, hang on a second, my friend Rebecca gave me some fabrics here this week. She had found some little scraps that she had. That could be cute to bind it with. This is gorgeous, but it's not big enough. This is going to be something, I'm going to make a book just for this and have that be the spine, because I just think that's gorgeous. It's where she did an inset seam. This is set on top of this in a seam. She sews beautifully, by the way, and she will be doing some videos with us before it's all over. I don't really care for that. This might work for considering it's going to be, I got to see what's long enough too. Let's see here. This is at least long enough, so I know that'll work. That's kind of pretty for a coloring design. Another thing is that I remembered being in here is this. This is something that is actually reminds you of coloring, or reminds me of coloring. So I may use a strip of this to make for the outside binding that keeps it strong. I may make just a narrow little binding out of that and pop that in there. We'll see. Because if I do that, I'm going to have to put that down. I may have to alter what I'm doing on my cover with this. I'll look at that in a few minutes. Like I said, I'm sorry. I just started rolling on a flow here and wanted to include y'all in the flow. So that's the other part. One of the two of those is probably what I'll use on this. And I'll set these aside. Like I said, I was just at Becky's last week, and I was telling her about that I was getting my stuff together. And she was like, oh, because I have like 7 book cover things that I was going to make into some books that I don't have covers for yet. So we were discussing that, and she told me to get them all gathered up and bring them over, and I've got them gathered up in a drawer over there. And so I'm going to take them to her house, and we'll work on those projects. But anyway, so with this, I'll have to decide on the front of this how I'm going to make that look, whether I'm going to put this down and put the paper over top of it. I may do that because I'm more interested in you seeing the paper here, and then on the back leave that perhaps I'm going to put a coloring page on the back as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put that on there, but I'm going to cover both sides of that with a coloring page, and that can be something that just is reminiscent of a coloring page. So I think that's what we're going to do for the spine. Things are coming together. This is how it happens. Yes, Boots, I love you too, honey. Come on, babe. I got to move you so I can do this. Come on, sweetheart. Thank you. Don't worry, I'll hold you later. I promise. But anyway, okay, so here we have it. I have already cut out these pieces to the correct sizes. There's 4 wider ones for the fronts and 4 narrower ones for the inside covers. So there's those. Now, let me look at this because it's important. Let me think through this with you. Because see, when I put this one together, I put all of the pages together, then I put the papers and the artwork on it. This one's going to be a little bit backwards, I think, from that. I think I'm going to put the pages together first, these sheets together, and then add the whole artwork. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Add the whole artwork this way, and then slide in and make those punches from there. I did the same thing with this one. I slid in and made the punches, but I had to make it extra for all the artwork. This way it's going to be, I'll glue the artwork all together and put that in and make it that way. Okay, let me set you aside. Now, everything comes down to simple measuring and doing. By the way, this is the other one that I'm going to work on after I finish up with this thing, and I'll show you how it is and some of the different things we have to do for that. This one is using 4 little stationery envelopes, and they're much smaller, but this will fit like in a purse or a pocket if you want to carry it that way. I've got glue on my hands here. Okay, the crafting has begun. I'm covered in glue. So anyway, I was cutting out things for this, and that's when all this just kind of crashed in my brain. I was like, okay, time out. Need to stop what I'm doing and go follow the flow. And this is the beauty of the craft room. Nothing is ever out of sync or out of time. You just relax and follow the flow, and it all just happens. So that's really how I work, is everything just kind of flows. And I'll set these aside in case I need to use either one of those. This is a bunch of scrapbook pages that I have cut out and cut down to the size of my typical signatures. So I was fishing through those for a few things. That's where I found this paper that I was working with. All right, so let's start back on, and let's assemble these pages together. Let me move you out of the way and get that out of the way to the trash. Okay, let's just start here with the first page, first paper back, that is going to go to the front of this one, like so. So I want to put glue on the letter on the back of this piece. We don't want to put it over here because you can't match these curves readily when you do it that way. And if you put it on this side, you can end up with glue going in places you don't need glue, and it makes a big mess. It can be fixed. Trust me, there's almost nothing that can't be fixed. Really and truly. This is just, that's the beauty of paper crafting. With paper crafting, I promise you, there is virtually nothing that can't be fixed. Really and truly. Nothing. Because everything, there are ways to work around it. So I just take this. Now this glue is called Fabri-Fix, and it is a silicone-based glue. It is not like Elmer's or tacky glue or something. The beauty of this glue is, number one, okay, when I glue with this stuff, I do what I call, a very technical term, I finger smoosh it. So what I want to do is I want to get the glue right out here to the edges of the paper. This is the most critical part because I need this stuff to stick where it's not going to have, you know, too much in the way of overlap or lacking of coverage. It's not the end of the world in this project because we're going to have decorative paper over top of the place where this is going. So ultimately it would be covered, but still I like to try to make it. This one I folded up like so, but this envelope in so that it lines up just right with this. So it lines up correctly like so. And then you bring that flap down and just smush it down. And like I said, the beauty of this stuff with, when you use like tacky glue or, you know, that kind of thing, you know what? I gotta go back this way with this. Okay. Yeah, because this next one, sorry, this gets very confusing very quickly if you're not really paying attention. This is going to go against there. But the beauty of this is when you use Fabri-Tac or Fabri-Fix, yeah, this Fabri-Tac. They make Fabri-Tac and Fabri-Fix. They're the same glue. I don't know if it's a European and English American thing or it's different markets. For some reason, one of them's called Fabri-Fix, one of them's called Fabri-Tac. They're both made by Beacon, and they are both the exact same thing. It does fabric to fabric, fabric to paper, paper to paper. It also does leather. This says it does leather, glass, wood, and trims. So it does a heck of a lot of stuff that it bonds. But what it does not do, if you notice here, this place where I just glued that, there's none of that crinkly stuff. When you use a water-based glue, it makes that wiggly look to it. This stuff is not water-based. It does not do that. It lays on top of the paper. It does not absorb into the paper. Therefore, it doesn't create that wiggly glue. So, if you don't have any glue at all, and you want to buy one glue, they make this. Now, this is a little bit more expensive. They make it in a 4-ounce bottle, and they make it in this little teeny tiny 2-ounce bottle. And the little teeny tiny 2-ounce bottle is, I don't know, $2 or $3, maybe 3 or 4, I don't know. Because this is like $12 for a bottle of this. It is not a cheap glue, but it is a fabulous glue, and it doesn't take a whole lot of it to work. So, if you want to invest in any glue, I'd say get the smallest bottle of this that you can find. It is well worth it. Your paper will not be icky ever, and you can use it on virtually anything. It also works with fabrics. It works with, you know, every kind of decoration you could possibly want to use. So that's just my 2 cents for Fabri-Tac. It will glue, it dries on your hand, and, you know, you can tell I've been out in the barn before I came in here and sat down at the table, because even though I have washed, no, I didn't wash my hands after I got back in. That's right, because I ate before I went out and washed my hands before I went out. But yeah, it'll dry on your hands and it just comes right off. But yeah, my hands are probably not perfectly clean right now because I was out grooming the horse. Anyway, okay, next envelope, you're going to have this piece going to this piece. So again, a little bit of Fabri-Tac goes a long way. You just pop some of this, whoops, pop some of this down like so. This is not coming out the way I need it to. Actually, it's coming out just fine. I'm just not able to see the way I need to see, because I don't want it to go everywhere it doesn't need to go. And if you want it really thin, kind of smush the tip of the bottle down on the paper as you're doing it, and it puts a pretty thin stream out. Once again, I want this all the way out to the edge, so I'm going to kind of finger smoosh it around so it gets close to the edge here. And then we're going to, let's see here, that's going to go this way, like so. This is going to lay down right next to this, like so. I can line it up. It'll line up right like that. And you just fold it over. Lay it down there. Off it goes. And you carve it right there. That made your next page. Last fold, right there. It's going to go against this one this way, just like that. So we go and put down our Fabri-Tac a little bit here. Again, it's like half of the bottle here. I used up a bunch of this making that first one, because it was a lot of layering on that first one. Okay, next is here, lining it up. Okay, line it up, doing a little finger smooshing. I know that is a very technical term that I borrow from a lady named Pam, who is at a channel called The Paper Outpost. It is one of the most delightful places you will ever go. I have learned so much listening to her through the last several years. And okay, this is not the neatest thing in the world. Come on back here, because I got that slightly offline. Okay, now we're good. All right. So, but yeah, it goes. I'll put a list, maybe in each of these posts. I'll add it because I don't have it ready right now. Sorry, let me get this glue off my fingers. Of some of the channels that I regularly watch. There's Pam at the Paper Outpost. There is Natasha at Treasure Books. She does some of the most exquisite books. If you ever want to have a reason, you want to find a reason to do paper stuff, go look at Natasha at Treasure Books. You will be absolutely awed at the beautiful things. She is so creative. She has pushed me to want to do next level bookmaking. I mean, Pam is amazing. She is one of the most beautiful people to learn from when you're starting out, because she is the one who taught me that there's nothing that can't be fixed, and basically just go have fun. I mean, if you're not having fun, you need to relax and know that there's no rules here. That's another beauty of paper crafting. There really are no rules. You can do, you can just really do it all. It's going to be fine. However you do it to make yourself happy. And that is the only requirement, is that you do what makes you happy. And even if you don't plan on doing paper crafting, I encourage you to try at least this one little project. I think it'll give you plenty enough to introduce you into how much fun it can be, and allow you to get your feet wet a little bit. Okay, now that is folded over right there, and this creates our little spine. Now, technically speaking, this is a good enough spine. I just liked the idea of reinforcing it a little bit. Actually, the way this one is laid out, what I may do in lieu of putting on because what I did was I didn't end up doing this as a pocket. I put paper down completely on it and just made it a solid. On this one, hang on, let me get my glue off my hands here. On this one, when you look at the back page, there was a pocket there. That could have been a pocket, but I had so many pages to it, I just went and made it a solid page. I may or may not want to do it on this one the same way. I'll think on that for a little bit, because if I don't do it that same way, if I make it just solid, then I may take Do I like that fabric better, or do I like this one better? I may just take the little narrow piece of this fabric and create a little spine so that it goes over it. I mean, I don't even need much because it doesn't take much. For something this small, it doesn't take a whole lot to reinforce this. But just have it come out maybe like, I don't know, maybe an inch, if that much, on both sides to seal it. And then lay down the paper that was going to go over it originally. Just lay it down and you'll just see the peekaboo of the edge of the spine going around the other side, and it'll be like a peekaboo on both sides for it. So that actually I think will be really cute. I like that idea. All right, so that's what we're going to do for this spine. Right now, I just want to get my idea, get my papers prepared. I don't think I'm going to need any more of that. All right, let me find where I put this. 1, 2, 3. Okay, there's the 3, and there's the 4. Where's my one with a paper clip? Is that right? I thought I put a paper clip on one of these. Where's my one? This is how easy things can get confusing. Okay, where's my other pieces of that? There they are. Okay, hold on. I was about to put that on too. This is why you look at things. It's like, yeah. Hold on. This is not right. I don't think. Are these both this way? Okay, something does not look right here. I know they're only they're only like an 1/8 of an inch difference. That's why you have to really look at them, because they're very, very close to being the same. Okay, this one is shorter than this. Are these shorter or longer? These are the same size as this. That goes with this one, except they're only an 1/8 of an inch difference in size. So it is very easy for them in a stack to look like they all belong together. Okay, this is my 4 long ones. This is my 4 short ones. This piece is going to go right here on one of those. That piece is going to go right there. All right, so next I need to get coloring pages made to fit these pieces. Now, when you go to do this, I encourage you, a ruler is handy. If you happen to have a cutter, that's awesome. If you don't, you can use a ruler. Any ruler will do, honestly. I like my metal rulers only because it's so easy to tear, and I love a torn look on a lot of things. It's so easy to tear and have it do a perfect tear on a metal ruler. Plastic rulers can do the same. You just have to be careful to really hold them down tightly, all of the area you're cutting, so that they don't slide around, and also so that you get a tight enough edge for it to pull away and not like tear inappropriately. So, okay, for this one, we need, where's my little 6-inch ruler? I have a teeny tiny ruler running around here somewhere that I have buried. No, I'm not always this unorganized, only when I start a video without planning to start a video. And poof, I'm off and videoing. There it is. Knew you were around here somewhere. Okay, so this little tiny thing, this is 3 inches wide here. So I'm inclined to keep my 3 inches, and I've got 3 inches here as well. This just gives it, I could do 3 1/8. Technically, for this larger one, I could do 3 1/8, but I think for uniformity of this paper, I'm going to do 3 inches on both of these pages. Okay, so a 3-inch wide piece. Now, if I were measuring this, I would go in and look at this and see, all right, so I want to do 3 inches wide, and I want to try to include these little flower-like things here. That's what I thought were cute. That was going to be my focal point. So I would want to trim it down so that what I would be inclined to do is, here is a middle point of that. So I would come over here and look at this, line it up with that middle point, make a tiny dot there, and make a tiny dot over here with this little middle point. And then you could use a ruler and cut it. Or you could use scissors and cut it, draw a line between the 2 points, and then cut it that way. Or if you've got one of these puppies, you can take this and look at this and go, all right, I know I want 3 inches. And I know I want right here. So I need this point right there to be at 1.5 inches. See this little point here? I want to line that up with the 1.5 inches here and here. And that gives me an idea that this is going to be where I want to cut, to have that 1.5 inches to be in the center, and then I'll flip it around and have 3 inches the other direction total. It'll make better sense when I do it. Hang on just a second. I want to line this up so that this mark here, and it does not have to be totally perfect. Now, when you're cutting all different kinds of paper, sometimes it's nice to start in the middle and go either direction. Set that aside. I might use it as a trim on something somewhere else. Now this way, I can now come this direction, put this at 3 inches, and it'll cut it off exactly so that I have this thing in the middle of the 2 points, just like so. And now I have this little 3-inch piece that is the perfect size to go right in here. And I may have to trim it down some in order to make it fit the best I can. Or what I could do, nah, I'll trim it down. I'm not going to get, but I may be able to get the 2 pieces in here. And that's it. You know, like trim off on both sides of that and then see what fits. Let's look at this way. Because I want to have a little bit in between so that you can see. Well, here, I'll just use this. We'll start on 2. And this goes down here. So I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, little less than 5. Maybe to get a border around this, 4.5. Let's say 4.5. Yeah, that'll allow roughly 1/4 inch on top and bottom. So let's do 4.5. Now let's look at this. How big is it actually? Right now it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and almost 1/2. So if we want this to be 4.5, we're going to have to cut off some space here. We're going to have to cut off some significant space. I'm going to start out by trimming off by eyeball and kind of work down from the eyeballing. Oh, I needed to still trim off this one to 3 inches. 1 second. I want to bring this down. Hang on a minute. I need to go from this side to 1.5 inches, just like we did before. 1.5 inches. Was it 1.5 this way? 1.5 this way. Line that up so that it measures out. This does not feel right. What am I doing? I want this to be the center point of 1.5. And I need, okay, if that's going to be the center point, hit 1.5. I'm lined up on both sides of that. Wrong. 1.5. So I need to be at 3. Jeez, what did I do a minute ago? Come on, peanut brain. I know it's late. Get over yourself. I want to be right here. And this needs to be 3 inches total. And that needs to be in the center. Alright. How big is it now? It is 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so it's 6. Cut it down to 3. That's not right. Cut it down. Hang on a minute. I gotta see what I did on this first one. I'm sorry. It's late. My peanut brain is not thinking straight. What is this? Okay. So I need to cut off on this side roughly ½ inch. Actually, about an inch. There. So 1 inch off this way. Line it up and flop that down. There we go. I don't know why my brain is not wanting to do this. I had no issue at all doing this earlier. And I need it to be from this side and be 3 inches. For some stupid reason, my brain did not want to fly there. So, yeah. Some days it does that. Okay, this one is going to go maybe right there. Let's see how this one goes. They're both a little, I'm going to have to clip both of them down pretty far to get them to try to fit. Alright, let me trim these down equidistant this way. Let's see if I can get them snuggled in there. I need about another, need a good bit off of these. Alright, we're going to make this fly. Okay, I want to try to get close to this end, but not, I don't want to cut it off. So let me take off a little bit and see how this looks. Alright, let's do it this side. Take off a little bit more too. Not a whole lot, just a little. Let's see, go back over here. Let's see how we're doing space-wise. We're getting there. Take off some more here. A lot of this is just touch and go. You make it work. You know, you get right as close as you can. There we go. Now we're starting to fit. Okay, let me take off a little bit more on the other side and we'll have a border around it that way. Okay, just a little bit more. There we go. Now, there we go. So that'll go like that. And, oh, paper clip, come to me. Don't you hate it when all your paper clips get tangled up? Okay, so there's that. That'll work under there. And that's the inside cover, first page. So we've got that out of the way now. This is the outside cover. We have a little bit more room on this one than we did the other one. Now, let's get this chopped down a bit. Sneak off a little bit more of this. Let's see how it looks. Can you tell I'm not used to videoing myself crafting? Sorry. I talk to myself all the time when I'm measuring and thinking things through. So forgive me if I talk your ear off while I'm figuring stuff out. Because this is just my way of doing stuff. Not everybody does it that way. Some people get super quiet and have to think about saying something so they don't have a bunch of dead space. For me, it's just the opposite. I just chitter-chatter at myself. I live alone, so I'm used to talking to myself as I work my way through things sometimes when I'm thinking stuff out. Except for my kitties and my horsey. Okay, that is near perfect. Alright, so this one is ready now also. So, let me undo that real quick. Take this and clip this down. These two pieces are going to go on this piece. And that is good. All done for that. These two pieces are going to go on that piece. That is front and inside cover. So that's fine. That's set. And I think I put, yes I did. As I said, I think I put my stuff down underneath here. Okay, so now this is going to be front cover and inside front cover. So that's got that. Hey everybody, I want to apologize. I'm learning. I did not keep up with making sure that this thing didn't quit recording on me, and it did. So I apologize. I didn't get all the stuff. I did my opening for it this afternoon in the barn with Maggie, and it explains a couple of things on there. I am going to leave the section, I will make sure that's in there, the section that was where I was having my brain glitch of thought. I want to make sure that's in there because I do want to be open and transparent and let y'all see, hey, I live with craziness too. One thing that I did want to talk to you about is on the envelopes that you use, if you come and you have envelopes that are things that, you know, you got mail in and there's no back flap available, because if you recall, the way we're putting these together is when you're doing your envelopes, you're taking the flap off of the back of the envelope and gluing it to the next, to the front of the next envelope like that, so that you need a flap for your envelope in order for it to be able to glue to the next one to create a book. And if you're starting out with a little stack of envelopes, and the envelopes you're going to use are these, like I started out with, that first project that I did with the fishing. Hey Boots, you just love to come join me when I'm filming, don't you, boy? When I did, hang on a second, I'm getting it. Excuse me, sweetheart. Come on, babe. Come on. You gotta get down, sweet. Come on, honey. Here you go. I'll be down. Okay, there you go. Now, are we still recording? Okay, now I know we're recording again. On this first one that I made, I used envelopes that are, if you notice, Boots, hon, please. Come on, sweetheart. I will hold you, I promise. Don't worry. Oh, I know, purr. Come here, sweet fella. Come on, let's come over this way. I need to be able to work on this area. Anyway, the envelopes, if you'll see, they're basically the same size as what this big one was. So if you're using these envelopes, what you need to do is take you just a plain piece of paper, and you're going to line it up, like you line up the envelope when you're going to cut it. And I'm using this decorative paper so you can see the look without, you know, it all just being white on white. You line it up on a paper. Okay, this is not long enough. Let me flip it sideways. You would line it up here on one corner, and then make yourself a little mark here, which lets you know how wide your paper is, and you can cut it off that direction. And then what you want to do is you want to have enough paper, once you've cut it off to the right length, you want to have enough paper for about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch to go here and be glued on, and then for another couple of inches up here to make you a flap. And what I did was I took a piece of paper and I measured, hang on a second, I measured, if you can see here, this is like, I did like, hang on Boots, please, hop down baby. I did almost 3 inches, and it could be 3 inches, it could be, you know, as long as you got at least, well, I think 3 inches is probably pretty good. And then what you're going to do is you want to build a flap. So what I did was I took that top point, I folded this in half, created a center point, and then I measured diagonally from here to here, and I folded the paper this way. And when you open that up, it gives you the makings of a little flap. So you would cut away these pieces right here, I'll fold them down just to get them out of the way for the moment. But you would cut those pieces away, and that leaves you a flap there to glue onto the paper. Let me just cut those away so they're... And it's easier to cut them away doing them this way, because that way they're exactly the same. And one of these sides, I've got it drawn on to make it easier. There you go. You draw out your one line from the end of the thing up to the top point. You draw that, and that's what gives you your flap. And you just go ahead and cut it right along this line, like so. And that way, both sides of your paper are going to be the same. And no, it does not have to be exact or any of that stuff. It's not that big a deal. This is just, you're creating a little flap. And then you're going to take that little flap, you know, take that out of the way, but you'll take this little flap, basically, and you go to the back of your envelope, and you simply are going to see where you want to put that little flap down, a little ways down, like that. And you're just going to add a little bit of glue coming across here. And then when you do this, hang on a second, let me grab my glue. Stuck the paper on top of it. You'll add a little bit of glue along the back where the flap is, that's, you know, glued down from where it was mailed to you. Just add a little glue right along the side here, along this edge, to glue it down, and go along like that. And, you know, you don't need a lot, because all you need to do is just have this stick, because all it's going to do is create a flap. So you just stick it down approximately even. This is not one of those, some things are rocket science. This is definitely not one of them, because some things you're doing, you need everything to be very precise. This is not one of those. So you kind of stick it down, and now you have a fold over thing that you can attach to another envelope. And you want to just kind of fold it over so it has a crease, so the envelope can flop back and forth the way it's supposed to with it. And you would put that flap on the front of the next envelope that you're using, you know, where you've got this envelope would be, that would be the front of this envelope, and you'd have another flap put on this one to go on the next one. So if you're using envelopes that don't have flaps, all you got to do is glue down that simple little piece of paper, fold it in half, draw a line to get your peak, cut the line, and you've got yourself an instant flap, so you can make those kind of envelopes work. And that's what I did with this one. Every single one of these I created, the first thing I did was I made a little flap, and they're all up underneath the stuff that's glued down here, and that's how it holds it together. So this is a super simple thing, but it is something you need to do if you're using envelopes that have no flaps at all. So wanted to just show you that, because that's one of those things you might have that, you know, that you wouldn't have otherwise. Now, we were looking at this one when my video died, and I just wanted to show you, I haven't glued these pieces down yet. What I did do was I glued all of the pages down, and, you know, the artwork down to the frames, because these are the frames. And this one is, you know, it's cute. It pulls down for you to write your emergency information, any allergies or anything that are serious concerns, so that if you're in an emergent situation, they can open this and find out who's your emergency contact person, phone numbers for them, who's your physician, phone numbers for them. If you have a particular hospital system that you're involved with, like me, I'm involved with Vanderbilt University's hospital system. And they've got places everywhere and tons of doctors that are involved with them, because it's a major system in this area. So I would put all their information in there. I would list probably who my cardiologist, my pulmonologist, my neurologist, my arrhythmia specialist. I mean, I've got several physicians that are on really critical things. My pain doctor who does my spine and all my neuropathy issues, which I have some major ones courtesy of COVID. So that's, you know, all that would be listed there for quick emergency reference. And it has, I just put a little bit of rec on here to make a cute little pull down. But underneath this, you can flip that up, and I have cute little, you know, the other mirror image of this piece, which is when I had my brain glitch. Was I did this and explained perfectly how to do it, and I went to do this one, and I could not remember how to do it at all. it was like major struggle for me to remember how to do it. So that was pretty, you know, that's one of those things that happens to me once in a while. I have a brain glitch. Sometimes I have brain fog, and that's totally different. Brain fog is more like, where did I put my keys? What time is that appointment? You know, simple stuff. Brain glitch is something more like, you know, this involved complex thought, and I totally could not get there. Anyway, so that's just one of my little idiosyncrasies with my chronic stuff. Okay, so I took out the pages, I glued them down. If you'll notice, I did not ink these pages like I did on this notebook. You know how I've got all the little bit of ink all around each of the photographs in here. You'll see it and around all the pages and stuff. With this one, because it is an artwork that you're coloring in, I didn't see that that would be appropriate to me. I wanted it to be free for people to color all the way to the edges. And oddly enough, my round paper punch will not punch through this heavy craft paper. It's like 110-pound copy paper. This stuff's really heavy. And my little sweet 1.5-inch punch here, tried that, and it was like, at first I tried a couple of sheets, and it was like, nope. And I thought, okay, maybe I just need to go down to one sheet. I went down to one sheet, put it in here, and I pushed for all my might, and it was just like, nope, we ain't cutting that. So I ended up going to a far more sturdy and strong clipper. You know, this was the only punch I had that was strong enough to be able to get through the darn paper. So I have these cute little triangles cut out of all these pages, and it looks silly, but it's the only thing I had that actually worked. So this is what makes it so we can have our pocket. When I glue this down, this will be what makes it so our pockets come open easily. And so that's what we're doing with that one. I'll finish that one up, and that'll be fine, because that one's easy. I wanted to show you one other thing real quick. Like, this one is interesting because this used stationery envelopes. And one of the things that with the stationery envelope, it has this larger flap, and it has this really deep inset here. So what I did was, first thing I did was I cut some pieces. This is print out of a reproduction of a 1918 Sears catalog. Just little pieces. And it's about, the pieces are just a little bit longer than this inset. And I just took them, slid them in, and ran one little bead of glue here and glued them down. And that provides so that you don't have that white envelope sitting there. Instead, you've got a pretty little thing that gives you a little bit of color, and it doesn't, you know, and it's something different. It's pretty, and it's, you know, so if there's nothing in that pocket, it doesn't look like an empty blank white thing. Then the other thing that was unique with that, because it has that unique edge here, you don't cut out a flat piece of paper to cover that whole thing. You want that pretty edge to show. So what I did was I made myself a little template. I used the envelope itself to help me, and I made a simple little template to fit on here. I used just a piece of the craft paper because it's so heavy. It made a nice little template. And what I did was, on all these pieces that are for the inset ones, all I did was I used this. I went on the back of it. I drew out the template here, and I put it here. And now you can glue that down, and it covers it perfectly. And so it looks really nice that way. So the inside ones of each of these have got one of these pieces of paper to go with it. And then the outside of the envelope on this side, whoops, excuse me, get that out of the way. But the outside of the envelope, see how this goes here to the outside? The outside simply has a full-size piece of paper, a full-size piece of paper that's the same size of the envelope, so it covers it completely. And that's what I'm doing for the outside. Then the inside has, like over here, has the piece that goes here on top of it. So it gives it a really pretty decorative look, and you've got that cute little newsprint inside. And the rest of these, I'll finish gluing these and putting them together that way. Now, I have not decided yet quite what I want to decorate this with. This is, you know, one of those this type of book, this book, you would not put any pockets or tucks on it, as we mentioned, because it would create, you'd cover up your artwork that you were going to color on. And so that would be kind of pointless. Now, you could do something called a flip that you could take and glue down on a very tiny margin, because you don't have much margin here when you put this together. There's very little space with that. Technically, you could put and glue down a little something like that that would fold over inside and then flip out, but that's a little bit more complex than what I want to do right now. So, yeah, technically you could do something with that, but I don't want to get into that. For this one, however, because this is, decorative paper is what's being put on here, then on the opposite side, there's decorative paper here with nothing on it. What I may do here is I may create pockets and things and tucks to go here so that you can stick things inside of them, as well as sticking things down inside the pockets, and give it more storage space. So if you wanted to use one of these and make you one with several different envelopes and use it for a coupon caddy, you could do that and insert, create little tabs maybe that have the names of what, whether it's vegetables or produce, produce or meats or, whatever kind of, frozen stuff, whatever you've got coupons for, you could do something like that. Or, like I said, you can do it for the medical thing. I am going to actually finish this one for me, for a medical one for me. I will probably, before I completely finish it, I may add a couple of more envelopes to it so that I have a little bit bigger one, because I do have like half a dozen doctors. Or I may not. I may just use it and tuck things in it. But anyway, so I'm going to finish that one up, and it'll be, however it is I decide to decorate it. But I did want us to see and do this and finish these up. I will go ahead and just finish these up off camera, because I've got to edit out a lot of stuff already, because this video is quite long. When you're crafting and you're having fun, one of the things that happens is time gets away from you so fast. And like I said, it had, the battery died is what happened, and it quit videoing. So I've got to go back and figure out how far it got. But I did want to kind of give you some closure for these. And I will post some snapshots maybe of these when they're totally finished, and whatever else decorating I do on them. And that way you can see how they finish up. If you have any questions, I have got, go to the Facebook group, join up at the Facebook group. You can post. I would love for people to join the Facebook group and post pictures of things that they craft. I would love to see, if you do woodworking, whatever it is you build. If you build birdhouses, I love birdhouses. If you build birdhouses, if you build cabinets, if you build furniture, or whatever you build, if you do a scroll saw and do these beautiful designs, or you can use a router to make some of those things, the really pretty signs and stuff. Or if you do quilting, or if, whatever you do, I would love for you to join and put up some pictures of some of the things that you do and love, and let those things help lead us forward into what else we want to do on the channel for crafting. In the meantime, I'm going to continue with my paper craft. I am going to be getting with Rebecca to do some sewing, and right now she's doing jewelry as well. She has done beading for a long time, and she's really, really good at it. So I'm hoping that she'll do some things. Maybe she can teach me how to do some things, and we can do a video of her teaching me how to do something, so that you can go along and see how you do things, and it'll be fun and entertaining. But anyway, I love you guys very much. I'm so excited and so humbled to be able to have a vision for this. And I'm not worried about how long it takes for it to grow. I'm not trying to make money off of this, so that's the least of my worries. I just want to love and care for people. And the nurse in me still is there. So, yeah. Anyway, love you guys, and I'll talk to you next Mayday Monday. All right, bye-bye.